baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, MOH tracks positive man's movements. Opposition whip granted bail under strict conditions. And mad Russia concern for FMPF.
From the studios of FBC Suba, Jackie Smith.
The Ministry of Health is now trying to trace whether anyone in Fiji had come into contact with a person who has tested positive for COVID-19 in New Zealand. The man who had travel history to Fiji developed symptoms 2 days after arriving back in New Zealand. Health Minister Dr. Feremi Wanganambete says they are not sure whether the New Zealand national contracted the deadly disease in Fiji or New Zealand. Health officials have tracked back the man was at the following places while in Fiji. Between March 11th and the 13th, he was at the Plantation Island Resort and returned via ferry to Denarau and visited the Cloud9 floating platform. And on 15th March, he was at Nduandua Resort in the morning and at Tano Hotel in Rakiraki at lunchtime.
We need to diligently.
And we are now live.
The disease here, as this will inform our broader containment efforts. This case in New Zealand should be a wake-up call for everyone. There is a real chance this individual could have picked up the virus while he was here in Fiji. So even though we have not recorded a new case in Fiji for the last 5 days, we must act as if anyone, anywhere could be a carrier of the coronavirus.
And we are now live with Apanisa Wangarundovu, who was at the press conference earlier today. Apanisa, what else can you tell us about this case?
Well, Jackie, upon receiving the information last night, the Health Ministry have not delayed their contact tracing as they have already started. And the Health Minister, Dr. Feremi Wanganambete, had also confirmed that the family of the individual who resides in Nandi, they have confirmed to the ministry that they have been in self-quarantine since the 19th. That is the date when the individual had returned to New Zealand. That being said, there are also 14 other individuals that have contacted the Health Ministry, and they are also in self-quarantine and are being monitored by the Ministry of Health. Well, for anyone that had come in contact with the individual at the time that he had spent in Fiji, that is when he was at the Plantation Resort, that is from the 11th to the 13th, and he also took a return trip to Denarau and also spent time at Cloud9. Afterwards, he had traveled down to Nduandua Resort and he had breakfast at the Tanua Hotel in Rakiraki on the 15th. So for anyone that had come into contact with the individual at the time that he had spent in Fiji, you are requested to visit any health clinic that is available, and also you can contact the Ministry of Health on toll-free 158. At this point in time, the Health Ministry have also confirmed that anyone that had traveled with him in the flight that he had taken to Fiji, you are safe, but this is because of the incubation period, meaning that anyone who had spent time who will show signs or symptoms of COVID-19 will develop the symptoms within the first 2 to 14 days that he had come in contact with the virus. Jackie.
Thanks for that, Apanisa. SADELP MP Linda Tambuya was today released on bail, having been charged with alleged malicious acts under the Public Order Act. It's alleged on March 19th there were several Facebook posts by Tambuya that breached the act. Prior to arguments on her bail application, which the state objected to, Tambuya, in response to the charge, entered a not guilty plea. Maggie Boyle was in court and files this report.
It's alleged that Tambuya on the 19th of March maliciously posted through social media platform Facebook, her profile namely Linda Tambuya, false news, stock up food, VT, have a guaranteed farm supply, it's about to get real, hashtag COVID ready, and let's just get one thing straight, Fiji, the government brought coronavirus into Fiji, not Soko, hashtag stop blaming the people, hashtag criminal negligence. These posts tending to create or foster public alarm, public anxiety or disaffection. With support from some of her party members as well as family and friends, security at the Suva Magistrates Court was clearly barely visible. Social distancing meant the courtroom was limited to counsels, parties to the case, and some media. The state objected to Tambuya's bail application on several grounds: that the case is of national interest, that the accused did not cooperate with the investigation, refused to answer questions, and did not hand over her phone for the police investigation. Lawyers for Tambuya questioned the investigating officer on what the threshold for national interest was, given that there are 19 statements on the case. However, they would only reveal the name of one. In their bail application submission, Tambuya's lawyers argued that in reference to the Bail Act, she was charged on Friday night, the 27th of March, and as stipulated in the law, should have been produced in court within 24 hours, which was not the case. The Chief Magistrate granted bail on several conditions, one of which was that Tambuya temporarily deactivate all her social media accounts for the duration of the court proceedings. Sureties for her bail application included fellow SODELPA member Rotimu Mukepa and Tambuya's sister. The case will be recalled on April 6th. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Hundreds of Fijians lined up outside the Fiji National Provident Fund office in Suva and Lautoka today, trying to access funds to help them through this COVID-19 crisis. Despite the advice from the FNPF Chief Executive that members need to submit their forms electronically, there was still a mad rush to its office in both cities. Koroi Tandalala reports.
Members of the Fiji military forces were today seen controlling the crowd in Lautoka, ensuring that they adhere to the social distancing advisory.
There's been a lot of members that came to our offices today. We're pleading with them again. Apart from breaching the requirements for distancing, they're also putting our members, our staff at risk.
The fund is advising employers to liaise with their employees who are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic so that they stop lining up outside its offices, while at the same time encouraging its members to make use of its online platform to submit their applications.
This morning, we have emailed a total of 1,830 employers, covering about 43,000 employees.
The Economy Ministry has also been receiving queries from people who are trying to take advantage of the situation following the announcement of the response budget.
People who've had queries saying, I have not been employed for the past 3 years. Can I take out my money now, even though some of them have already withdrawn some funds which they're entitled to do so? No, you can't, because that unemployment of yours has not come about as a result of COVID-19.
All applications made by members will be thoroughly scrutinized before any funds will be released. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
Military personnel in Lautoka have been ordered to leave their weapons in camp when they're out on patrol within the Central Business District. FBC News approached Republic of Fiji Military Forces Commander Rear Admiral William Naupoto for clarification after armed personnel were seen outside the Fiji National Provident Fund office in Lautoka today. Rear Admiral Naupoto says he has directed personnel who are assisting police in the COVID-19 operations to not be armed at any time.
I apologize to the members of the public if we had created undue anxiety this morning, but be assured that they won't be armed. As of now, you wouldn't see anybody armed here.
Meanwhile, the military commander has also confirmed that RFMF personnel are now positioned at strategic locations to guard national assets, such as water reservoirs, and these personnel have been given permission to carry arms at these sites to protect from sabotage. About 279 operators under the Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association have closed due to a drastic decline in tourists. With border restrictions and airlines grounded due to COVID-19, the association says some operators will not be able to reopen.
With no tourists expected for the next 6 months, small cash-based operators will feel the pinch if they haven't already.
You're not going to survive. You're going to run out of cash. And smaller businesses have a huge dependence on cash flow. And if they don't get any direct assistance from government, then they're just not going to be able to keep their head above water.
If the situation continues to go downhill, new measures of support will be provided.
The association represents about 80% of hotels and resorts in Fiji. Only 20 or so remain open on a reduced basis. As of today, 20,000 hospitality staff have been sent home.
How much money have you got on standby for you to be supported when no actual revenue is coming in for you? How do you keep it going?
To the countless Fijians anxious about what the future holds, know that you are not alone. Your government will be there to support you through however many weeks or months it takes for the world to beat this virus.
The association has welcomed the COVID-19 response budget, but is hoping for some direct assistance for its members.
April, May, those are going to be the very telling months. That's when no revenue has been coming in.
Hotels and resorts don't expect an influx of tourists for at least the next 6 months, because even if Fiji is ready and safe by then, our market destinations may not have overcome the effects of COVID-19. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
Up ahead, businesses welcome tax incentives. And vegetable price hike reported in Lautoka. Details after the break.
Pula natang ko aprosan ngarse, go erkraki. Do televizyon na barong na Radio Fiji 1 nandom ibit.
Radio Fiji 1 nandom.
The Prime Minister is urging Fijians to stop stigmatizing those who visit fever clinics as efforts to combat COVID-19 continues. Vorenge Bainimarama is encouraging people who have flu or fever to visit their nearest fever clinics, as the seasonal flu has similar symptoms to COVID-19 and should not be taken lightly. Koroi Tandulala reports.
The Prime Minister adds Fijians should encourage anyone who may have a fever or flu to get checked.
Let me be clear. There is no shame in being sick. There is no shame in having the flu, a fever, a coronavirus. By seeking treatment for your sickness and by reporting your symptoms as soon as they develop, you are being incredibly responsible.
Bainimarama says those who are spreading rumors about people visiting the fever clinics are damaging the COVID-19 containment efforts.
Anyone who goes to get a checkup should be praised. They are playing a crucial role in keeping COVID-19 at bay. The only shame comes in hiding your symptoms or by being dishonest. That is what ultimately spreads the silent killer.
Bainimarama says while the government can make recommendations or even hand out punishments for those caught disregarding the advisories, individual action and responsibility will help Fiji win the war against this virus. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
A new single COVID-19 helpline will be activated from tomorrow for all Fijians to use in relation to suspected cases. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama says given their elevated response and capacity, the new call centre will have one toll-free number, 158, for the public to contact for all COVID-19 related queries and concerns. Previously, there were 4 post-pay helpline numbers for the respective divisions. The helpline 158 will be open 24 hours, 7 days a week for the duration of the COVID-19 response.
We'll be rolling out a new COVID-19 call center to handle all concerns relating to COVID-19 and our response measures. With one toll-free number, anyone can call.
Meanwhile, Fijians living abroad wishing to inquire about the COVID-19 response here, the number to call is 679-9902-158. That's 679-9902-158, which is a charged service. Businesses in Nadi have been reminded to ensure their staff do not abuse the curfew letters that are being provided by their companies. With the nationwide curfew starting from 10 tonight, the businesses in the jet-set town have spoken to their workers on the importance of also having the letters and carrying their IDs during the curfew period. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Businesses in Nadi have made it clear that they will not tolerate any staff abusing the curfew letters that will be provided to them. A number of managers spoke to FBC News today and told us that they have held meetings with their staff to stress the importance of abiding by the curfew restrictions. Majority of these shops in Nadi that will operate after hours include a few supermarkets and shops, restaurants, bakeries and service stations.
We have already advised our staffs, but by 9:15 we are all out from the shop. If our staffs will be late, so we are given a letters to show the police.
For Tano International Hotel in Nandi, despite the low tourist numbers, they have a system in place for their staff during the curfew period.
What we have done is we've adjusted our rosters and advised our staff of pickup times and communicated with our HODs on how we're going to be coordinating during this curfew hours.
Meanwhile, the Nandi Chamber of Commerce President Dr. Ram Raju says the nationwide curfew, which starts today, is a timely move considering the COVID-19 situation in the country.
For safety, security, and also the movement of people, unnecessary movement of people. There's not too much activities anyway because of these loss of all the tourists coming to this country.
Dr. Raju says they have also sent out a memo to all Nandi businesses to ensure workers who will move around during the curfew hours have their work ID cards and curfew letters. Philippe Naikaso, FBC News.
The Agriculture Ministry is concerned about the sudden hike in vegetable prices at the Lautoka market during the COVID-19 lockdown. The ministry has been undertaking a survey of prices in the Western Division and found that, unlike other markets, the Sugar City vendors have marked up their prices. Kelly Vadalo reports.
The Agriculture Ministry has sounded a warning to all those vendors who are taking advantage of the COVID-19 situation to make a quick buck.
I want to give a caution to market vendors that if this practice continues tomorrow, then we will, the Agro Marketing Authority with Ministry of Agriculture, will set up retail tables around the market area and will also retail vegetables.
The minister assuring the people that they will not face shortage of vegetables with 4 days remaining before decision is made on the status of the lockdown.
People are aware that the suppliers, they will continue to bring produce to the two ends of the lockdown area, the Nandi end and the Bar end, where our Agro-Marketing Authority team and Ministry of Agriculture team have set up their buying booth.
Meanwhile, in an effort to ensure there's physical distancing practice at all other markets, the local government minister says they've made a decision to assist the vendors.
We have made the decision to decentralize the markets. We will now put up tents with the vendors in different areas.
The local government ministry has also amended the opening hours for the municipal markets to ensure vendors are able to comply with the curfew that comes into effect tonight. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
And Whitney joins us now with the latest from business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up after the break. Slow business day in Suva, and subsidized EFL customers covered under response budget. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Kadavi, and Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Some businesses in Suva have started to feel the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was not the usual Monday in the capital city, as the streets were almost empty with many businesses closed. Faria Begum has more.
Closed shutters, chained and padlocked entrances are not something the people of Suva are used to seeing. With customer numbers dropping, many of these businesses had no choice but to close its doors until further notice. Director of Fiji X-Zone Internet Shop and Computer Repairs, Shalin Prakash, says no one will be spared from the impact of COVID-19.
It's a risky disease, so we want to stay away from people. In internet shop, we have got a lot of people coming and going, and we have got also people coming from overseas, local people. We don't know what they are carrying.
The lunchtime food traffic in Suva city again today seemed less than usual, as many tried to stay away from restaurants amid the COVID-19 outbreak.
Indiana Curry House Supervisor Sheetal says business is not doing well.
Our business are very down at the moment because of the coronavirus. People are very afraid to come to eat outside at the moment.
Arjun Singh, a chef originally from India, says there is not much that he can do to ensure the safety of his family.
I know that they are safe back in India. All I can tell them is to practice cleanliness and stay safe.
All businesses, regardless of what size, are hoping the COVID-19 pandemic will be over soon. Faria Begum, FBC News.
The Energy Fiji Limited is trying to reach out to more Fijians who can be assisted in these trying times. EFL has a little over 31,000 subsidized customers registered with them. Under the COVID-19 response budget, Fijians who are only paying 52% of their first 100 units will now be covered fully. The relief assistance provided by the government and EFL only covers those with an annual income below 30,000.
If you are not a subsidized customer, and if you do meet the requirements, there are certain requirements, then please come to our EFL offices, and if you meet the requirements, you could become a subsidized customer and you can enjoy the benefits that have been offered by EFL and the government.
We now join Sinifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the world stock market.
Let's review the trading on the SPX platform last week. Over 82,000 shares were traded, amounting to more than $292,000. 9 listed entities recorded trades with 5 noting share price movements. ATH Limited shares fell by 1 cent to close at $2.58. Fijian Holdings Limited also decreased by 16 cents to end the week at $1.33. RB Patel Group Limited shares showed an upward movement of 29 cents to close at $3.69. Fiji Care Insurance Limited further rose by 5 cents to conclude the week at $2.65, and Port Tenarau Marina Limited also moved up by 1 cent to close the week at $2.79. Following these various share price movements, the overall market value slightly fell by 0.22% to a value of $3.86 billion. That's a wrap from our local stock market and from HFC Bank in Accra.
Here today's exchange rates are set this morning. As the spread of coronavirus worsens across the globe, the exchange indexes continue to feel the pinch. It was not a good day for the Fijian dollars as it weakened against all currencies except the Chinese yen and the US dollar. Onto the commodities market, the price of crude oil dropped further, closing at around $20 per barrel. Gold rose by around $26 to $1,649 per ounce, and the price of silver dipped slightly, closing at $14.15 per ounce. That's it from business tonight. Jamie joins you now with the latest from sports.
Thanks, Whitney, and good evening in sports tonight. Training adjustment for Fiji Sevens. And Easter volleyball likely to be called off. Details after the break.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The Fiji men's and women's sevens teams' training schedule for the Olympic Games will be aligned accordingly in the coming months, keeping in mind the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic. With the Games postponed until next year, the extended squads have more time to prepare for the final teams. Before the final teams are announced. Caroline Tavi reports.
National coach Gareth Baber says they will have to adjust their training schedule to the current economic situation.
Really going to have to look at a system of training which we'll use over the coming months, which has got to be flexible and be able to move with what the changing landscape of the virus might look like, and the economy as well, in ensuring that we're doing right by what is important for Fiji.
Commission Chair Peter Maisie says they have funding available to cater for Team Fiji until the next financial quarter.
We also have this added situation of the Olympics now a year later, so we've actually got to look at, are we going to have funding available for Team Fiji to go to the Olympics?
The postponement of the Olympic Games will give the Fiji Sevens men's and women's side more training time.
Like for our sevens players, men and women, we've now got another year of training, and so that budget was only up until the end of July, so we just have to wait and see what happens.
Guiding the national team to its second Olympic gold medal is certainly on the agenda for the Welshmen. Baber says they are working closely with Fesanok and the International Olympics Committee on their next move. Carlene Tavi, FBC Sports.
The postponement of the Tokyo Olympics has been an emotional roller coaster for many athletes, but one Aussie sevens player has had a smile on his face since the announcement. A lot of international sports stars and teams are using their COVID-19 self-isolation period to refocus and regroup. But for some, like the All Blacks, well-deserved family time is top of the agenda. The highly anticipated Fiji Volleyball Easter Games competition will likely be postponed. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak and the suspension of sporting activities, Fiji Volleyball Federation is planning to defer future competitions. President Linganguki Suva says they are in constant contact with their members and will advise them on their next move.
Everything that we were planning for has now been put on hold until we get the clearance from government. You know, at the end of the day, we better be prepared for rather than looking for cure. So where we can negate and get everyone to stay safe, we will do that as an organization. And we've also informed our association accordingly on the proposition of Fiji Volleyball Federation.
And now, play of the day. On break from English Premiership Rugby that is currently suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Olympic gold medalist and Flying Fijians flanker Semi Kunatani may not have access to proper gym equipment back in his village, but that's not an excuse for the 29-year-old from Nangali Mare in Nabosa. This is how Kunatani is keeping in shape Fiji style. That's it from sports. Angie joins you with weather later on. And in the world of the weird and wonderful, a grocery store in the United States had to throw away over $35,000 worth of items after a woman purposely coughed on them. Details coming up.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Monday night, and our favorite weather lady is back with all the latest. What have you got for us, Angie?
Muchu Volavina, remembering all those from Nandringa today. How have you been? I bet better than the previous week because the weather has been up to some good, petty improvement. Just a side note, the curfew comes into effect today. It's from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So whatever you do, get home before 10 p.m. Now looking to the west, the sun was amazing with so much to offer. Good weather for laundry and exercising. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, conditions turned a bit gloomy by afternoon. And up north, little spotty showers are active and may build up later tonight. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, high tide at 11 p.m. with low tide at 4:53 a.m. Sunrise at 6:12. For tomorrow, the weather looks rainy and non-appealing, especially for the early morning session. Things will ease up by afternoon. Tomorrow's temps, Lotoka looks a little warm out there with temps ranging from 24 to 31 degrees. And looking further on to Wednesday, slight showers might be a bother. Otherwise, we're all good to take on another week. That's all from the weather world. It's back to the stunner who makes Mondays more bright. And it's Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, what is your message for the health workers who are on the front line in our fight against COVID-19?
I'd like to thank all the healthcare workers. Good job.
I want to thank the health ministry and all the healthcare workers. They have been doing a good job, especially that we only have 5 cases until today. I thank them, and every Fijian should support them in this tough time.
I'd like to thank the health ministry of doing a good job,
And I would like to ask people in Fiji to be clean at all times, to wash and clean their hands.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, Ministry of Health tracks positive man's movements. Opposition whip granted bail under strict conditions. And mad Russia concern for FMPF. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question last week, we had asked, should supermarkets restrict the number of items one can purchase during the COVID-19 period? 67% said yes. Now, this week we're asking, should business houses make social distancing compulsory for its customers? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day taken by Spencer Nigel Robinson from Nakawanga Village, Mali Island, in the beautiful province of Maduata. And with COVID-19 affecting the world, if you are in any area, particularly Lautoka, send us newsworthy pictures and videos of what you're up to during the lockdown. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, our Facebook page, FBC News, or our Twitter page at FBC_news, or you can also use the hashtag FBC News. And before we go, remember that we are amidst a global pandemic. Please ensure to follow all advice from authorities and also only follow the official announcements and updates. If you're out shopping, please be considerate. And from the team and I, that was your news for tonight. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Stay safe, wash your hands. Bye for now.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lautoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.